I'm happy to banter with you, but I want to make sure and let you do your thing.
You bet. You bet. Well, Hudson, first of all, thank you so much for giving me the gift and opportunity to be back there in your market center. And I know many of you I got to be with for about 6 weeks there as we did Bold, and look forward to being able to do that with you guys when we are live and back in person. So, which, by the way, the rumor is we are back out there live in October. So you guys get out there, get on the schedule. And hey, I just want to, and I'm not doing this because Hudson asked me to. I just want to commend your leadership there, though, Hudson, you and all of your leadership. I get the gift and honor to work with all of our leadership across the country, and you guys really do. I'm not just saying that, you guys really do have incredible leadership. So Hudson, thank you for what you do each and every single day there. So, and each and every single one of you. The top 20%, you guys are the leaders in the market center. And so when Hudson asked me, hey, what do you want to talk about today? What I'm going to do is kind of talk to you about right, the market that we're in, and also talk to you about the market that is to come. Now, obviously, I don't know what that is or what that looks like. None of us have a crystal ball to figure that out. And yet I think we can all agree that the market that we're in, although it may be reality today, I know that every single one of you are sharp enough to know that it's not reality, though, right? Would you guys agree with me on that? It is today, and yet it's actually not. Meaning, Gary Keller tells us that we're always in a shift, right? And that we've got to be prepared for the market that we're in and the market that is to come. And so what I've really been coaching all across the country is my biggest fear is that we have a lot of agents, and especially I would say our top 20% agents, that are busier than they ever have been, right? There are more moving parts maybe than there ever have been. And my fear is that we get caught up in the market of the moment, and we stop building businesses that are foundational and that are sustainable, predictable, and duplicatable, right? And you guys tell me, could it be that we get caught up chasing the market of the moment we're in and chasing our tail and the busyness of everything that's going on? And in the middle of that, I don't know about you, I own a team as well. It's been very easy, and I am very prone to get away from the basics that lead me to owning a big business. Does that make sense? I think we get caught up in the day to day. I don't know about you. Maybe that's just me. Hudson, you own a big team as well. It's very easy to get caught up in the day to day, right? And in the busyness. And so what I wanted to talk to you about today was that, right?
Yeah, I was going to say, I mean, that's like, I have a weekly meeting with my team, and I'm sure they're overhearing it, but it's like literally the message every week is that you guys need to be calling your people, because I am so concerned for what's going to happen when it takes more than a pulse to sell a house. That's and right. It will happen. And so, yeah, no, I'm with you 100%.
Yeah. Yeah. And so my big concerns are we taking time to slow down in the middle of crazy so that we build businesses that are very sustainable, very predictable, and duplicatable? And the question I've asked everybody is the market sustainable? Right? And the answer is no, right? There's no way we can sustain this, right? It's in no way, shape, or form predictable. Good grief. Like, I've never seen a market as unpredictable. Real estate's always unpredictable. This is crazy town unpredictable, right? And then my follow-up question to that, and this is the question I have for you today. So if the market is not predictable and the market is not sustainable, my question is your business? Because your business, and this is why I say, are you a realtor or are you a business owner? A realtor is going to go chase, right? A business owner is going to go capitalize on the market of the moment, and yet they're going to make sure that they don't miss the foundational piece of, I've got to build a sustainable, predictable, and duplicatable business that thrives regardless of the market that I'm in. Okay. So my next question for you is this. If you were to wake up tomorrow and our market does a 180 tomorrow, where would you be? Well, what does your P&L look like? what, right? Some of you are like, what is the P&L?
I was just going to say, I have to laugh because I know that half this room just went, what?
Yeah. P&L, that stands for profit and loss, right? And so this is why I'm concerned right all across our country, because here's now I haven't seen this, and yet if I were to go to market centers, here's what I would see. And this is what I hear from a lot of team leaders. A lot of team leaders today are telling me, Dusty, our struggle is we're struggling to get people to focus on the building of their business because they're just so busy, right? They're just so busy. And so here's the best way I can kind of describe it to you. Everybody in the room has automatic bill pay, right? You guys have automatic bill pay?
Yes, it is. I hope so. It's 2021.
Yeah, right. We all have automatic bill pay. Now, the reason we have automatic bill pay is so that it just works even like it works all the time, right? It's sustainable. It's predictable. Okay. So my question is, what would happen? And you guys have had this happen before. I know you have. What if all of a sudden your credit gets compromised or you lose your debit card or something like that, right? I mean, it's painful. Yes or no? It's awful. You got to go start everything all over again and all the above. Now, here's the deal though. You and I take the time to do that. Why? Because if we don't, it's going to be utter chaos, right? Yep. It's just going to be crazy town, right? Like think back, I know some of you weren't alive, but like think back to 1985, right? In 1985, we didn't have automatic bill pay, okay? The bill would come to your mailbox. You'd go out there and get it. You'd bring it in. You'd open it up, and here's your bill, right? And then you'd have to go get your checkbook. You guys know what those are? Checkbooks. You actually write in them. It's real weird. So you'd go get your checkbook. You'd write a check to the company, right? You'd then go to your ledger, right? You couldn't go to your computer and do it. Like you'd go to your ledger and you'd have to actually write down like we do in the bold exercise. Like you'd actually write down, okay, well, I spent this much money and now I have this much money. And then, right? You have to actually write it down. Otherwise you didn't know how much money you had. Okay. All right. And then you'd put that in that envelope, and then you'd have to get a stamp. Well, what if you didn't have any stamps? Right? Well, if you don't have any stamps, you know what you got to do? You got to go get in your 1985 Oldsmobile. And you got to drive down to the post office. Now, when you get there, you can't go up to the kiosk and pull out your debit card because those don't exist, right? You actually have to go inside where people are. Isn't that a novel idea? Go inside where people are, right? And then when you get in there, you realize there's 40 other people that they don't have stamps either. So you got to wait to get your stamps. Now you finally get your stamps. You put your stamp on there. You put it in the mail. Now that check's not going to clear. Ladies and gentlemen, depends on where it got to go, right? If you got to go all the way to California, that check ain't clearing for like 2 weeks. So you got to make sure you hang on to that money, right? Or you may overspend. That's my fear of what's going on in our business. And what I mean is, if this shifts tomorrow, are you ready? Are you sustainable? Are you predictable, right? Do you know how much money you have? Okay, because I'll tell you what I'm hearing from team leaders. Team leaders are saying they're busier than they ever have been. And when I pull into the parking lot, everybody's got a brand new car. Now, I got no judgment around if you got a brand new car. Okay, that's not what I'm saying. I'm just saying that realtor and business owner, we got to think differently. Does that make sense? Okay, a business owner right now should be capitalizing on this market at the moment. We're going to talk about how to do that. And they also should be taking that money and putting it away, because there's going to be a shift that's coming, and you've got to build a business that's sustainable, predictable, and duplicatable, right? That you have 6 months reserves, that you have 1 year reserves, that you're not going out and you may be making more than you ever have before. And I high five you on that. I think that's awesome. And if you're building a business, you got to make sure that you hang on to that, that you're putting it in the right place, you're investing in the right place. Does this make sense to everybody? Okay. And so I've got
nodding. That's good sign. Good
everybody's
sign. They're
nodding.
awake and they're nodding. It's very good.
Yeah. So my questions are today, are you a chaser or are you an attractor? And what I mean by that is, if we get away from the basics, from the fundamentals of what it is to build a real estate business, okay, then we're going to end up being chasers. Where you may not be chasing right now and you may not feel like you're chasing. At some point though, if the pipeline goes dry and your bank account goes dry, what happens is you automatically turn into a chaser. Okay. And chasers don't make it. Can I tell you why? Because chasers run out of wind. Okay. You guys remember being like when you're a kid and you play chase, right? At some point, you just got to stop because you're exhausted. You're tired, right? So I bring up the example of automatic bill pay for this reason, right? That many of you right now are just operating and it's going and it's going and it's going. What were to happen, that what a shift does is it causes everything to get illuminated. All the places where you're bleeding, all of your gaps, that's where you're illuminated. And so you've got to take time to slow down in order to speed up. And that's why I gave you the example of automatic bill pay, right? So right now we've got to slow down in order to speed up. We can't get rid of the basics because the companies that thrive are the companies that are systematic. Their customer experience, that is their number one priority, and they stick to the basics. Like, I never understand when people say, I got to get back to the basics, right? My question is always, why in the world did you ever leave the basics? I don't understand. The basics are what brought you the opportunities that you have, right? So a couple things I want you to write down. So here's the first one. Execution. Okay. Execution doesn't happen in months and quarters. It happens in days and weeks. Okay. So I want you to think about what your days and weeks look like, right? What are your days and weeks looks like? And what are you doing to make sure that your business is sustainable, predictable, and duplicatable? Go grab the market of the moment. I'm not saying don't grab it. I'm saying make sure that your business is sustainable and predictable and duplicatable regardless of where we are, and then execute on the day-to-day and the weekly activities. Chunk it down so that you are making sure that you're in line with where you desire to go. And then the next thing I want to ask you guys, when we talk about being a chaser or an attractor, is who are you out there in the marketplace? And when I say chaser or attractor, what I mean is, are people calling you, or are you constantly chasing everything? Now, as real estate agents, we've got to be on the phone on a daily basis, right? There's a difference though in doing lead generation and then chasing leads. There's a drastic difference in that. Okay. When I do lead generation consistently, time on task, overtime done consistently, what happens is I don't have to chase I'm a firm believer. You guys can write it down. When I do time on task, overtime done consistently, when I do the basics at the highest level possible, the market finds me. I don't have to go find it. Does that make sense? Because I'm in the game. I'm in the game each and every single day. I'm doing my job each and every single day. So I want to encourage you to make sure that you are doing the important first before you do the urgent. Okay. Which, number one, can I just tell you guys, I've been doing real estate for 10 years, and I have found that very, 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 very few things are in the emergency room. Have you guys found that? Now, your clients think everything's in the emergency room. Right? Sometimes the people on your teams, they think everything's in the emergency room. And the reality is it's not in the ER. Okay. So don't respond that way. Don't react that way. In fact, stop being a reactor and start being a responder. And what I mean by that is we get so caught in a market like this. The tendency is, and this is what I'm seeing all across the country, is our agents are out there just reacting to the market, and they're reacting to the busyness. And what's happening is we feel good because we see we're making a lot of money, and we see that things are happening. And Gary Keller puts it this way. I think it's one of the most profound statements he says, sometimes we're failing so slowly we think we're succeeding. And my fear for our mega agents, for those of you that are busy, is that some of us may be failing and yet we think we're succeeding, right? We're like, Coach, I'm making more money I've ever made in my life. Awesome. I think that's great. What if the market shifts tomorrow, right? I mean, what's it going to look like for you? What do you do from here? And so I want to give you a few things today. It's always hard for me to put everything into an hour because I'm a bull coach and I'm used to like being able to coach people for at least 3 to 7 hours. So I'm going to give you a whole lot of stuff and then answer any questions that you have at the end. Does that sound fair to you guys? Okay.
Yep.
So the first thing I want to give you is I want to give you really some basics that each and every single one of you should be doing that you may not be doing. Okay. So when I first start talking, you may be like, Okay, man, this is very, very basic. And the answer is yes, it is. You're welcome. Okay, because what's happening is we're getting away from the fundamentals and the basics, and the fundamentals and the basics is what builds sustainable, predictable, and duplicatable businesses. Okay, so I'm going to ask you to focus on these. I'm going to give you 12 things. Okay, and these do not come from my brilliant mind; they come from James Shaw's brilliant mind. By the way, I want to make sure and give him credit. So I don't know. I don't know. James Shaw, dude's brilliant. And here, I'm going to give you 12 things he's got for you. And then I want to talk to you about what action are you going to take from here. Okay. So here's what they are. So I want to give you 12 ways to make sure that you know that the rest of your year from right here moving forward is going to be the most productive part of your year. I firmly believe that every single one of you in the room can have the next 6 months be the best part of this year. And create a sustainable and predictable, duplicatable business and not be chasing the market. Okay. So I want to give you 12 things. Here's the first one. Okay. First thing I want you guys to do today is I want you to sit down and create a to-don't list. Okay. Now I know you are so good at creating to-do lists, right? I mean, as real estate agents, how many of you have sticky note disease? You guys have that? You guys have that?
I still have it.
You know what I mean? Like just, oh, I got to do that, sticky note. Oh, I got to do that, sticky note. I forgot to do that, sticky note. Before you know it, man, like you just have sticky notes everywhere and you can't even read what they say anymore, right? Like you don't even know which one to go to. I'm asking you to do the opposite. So I'm asking you to get rid of all of those and I'm asking you to create a to-don't list, right? And here's some thoughts. Like, don't get so busy that you drive yourself out of the business. That's a great to don't. Okay. Your busyness can drive you right out of this business. So we want to make sure you're a maker in the morning and a manager in the afternoon. So don't run to the urgent, run to the important and then do the urgent. The important things happen first. The important things are you don't ever stop picking up the phone and driving business. Gary Keller puts it this way. He says, don't ever let dealing with business take precedence over finding business. And what I see all across the country right now is everybody's telling me they're so busy. And I think that's great. Don't ever let dealing with business take precedence over finding business. Okay. So number one, I'm going to ask you to create a to-don't list. Okay. And put it in your workspace. What do you need to stop doing, KW Tampa? Are you with me? There's plenty you need to stop doing. What do you need to stop doing is the first thing I want you to identify. Okay. Now, number two, and I know these are super basic, so stick with me. Here's number two. Organize. Get organized. Organize your workspace. Okay. Organize your bank account. Organize your P&L. Okay. Get organized. Okay. Businesses that thrive are businesses that are organized. They operate in order and rhythm. Okay. Order and rhythm. And what I see is I see a lot of mega agents. I see a lot of top 20%. They're making a lot of money, but there's no order. There's no rhythm. I mean, it's just pure chaos. Now, granted, success is messy, okay? And yet I think greatness is ordered, okay? Success is messy and yet greatness is ordered. So get organized. Literally, I'm going to ask you to organize your workspace, okay? No, and here's part of the reason that I ask you to do that. When you get organized in your workspace and you don't have stuff lying all over the place, you can actually know where to go to get what you need when you need it. Okay. So just organize your workspace. That's one. Okay. Now, number three, and this one's huge in our market today. Okay. Number three is eliminate distractions while you work. Eliminate distractions while you work. How many of you have found since COVID hit that there are actually more distractions than there were? Has anybody else found that out, or is that just me? Okay. I mean, there are more distractions today than there ever have been, especially in this market. Now, here's what I'll tell you though. You and I are the ones who allow the distractions. You and I are the ones who allow the distractions. So I'm going to ask you to get rid of the distractions. And here's what I mean by that. We talked about being a maker in the morning and a manager in the afternoon, right? Getting the important done before you do the urgent. So every single one of you, you've got to make sure that you are doing your lead generation. You are following through with the most important things of your lead gen and your lead follow-up. And when you do those things, don't look at your email. Okay. Don't look at your text messages. Okay, turn your notifications off. I know that's scary because you're thinking, oh my goodness, but what if something falls apart? Here's what I can tell you. Very, very few things, very few things are in the ER, right? So don't get caught up running to that, because what happens is you and I come in with a great intention of doing our job, and our number one job is lead generation and lead follow-up. And what happens is then our seller sends us an email, they're upset. And so we start chasing that. This is what I mean by, are you a chaser and an attractor, right? We start chasing that and we get off base of what we should be doing in the moment. Does that make sense to everybody? Okay. All the way down to, so when I coach, I wear this watch. I don't wear my Apple Watch. And the reason I don't wear my Apple Watch is my Apple Watch is going to buzz. It's going to vibrate. It's going to move. It's going to light up, and it's going to take my eyes off of what I'm doing, which is coaching you. Okay. So my phone is face down. My email is turned off, so I don't hear the bong, and you guys don't hear it every time either, right? And I don't have my fancy watch on that tells me everything that's going on in life that's just a distraction. Does that make sense to everybody? So remove and eliminate the distractions while you work. And can I give you another piece of advice too? Remove and eliminate distractions when you are at home. Okay. And let me just tell you this, your family is not a distraction. Okay. Your family's not a distraction. Okay. So if you feel that your family is a distraction, then there's something out of order in your own world, not in theirs. All right. So when you are at home, remove the distractions so that you can fully be present at home. Another thing I see agents make a mistake on is I see agents building these big businesses. And yet when you dig into where they are in life, they're a mess. Okay. And I'm just telling you, the two of these go hand in hand. Your business and your life go hand in hand. That's why we coach in bold, that your business grows to the extent that you do. Okay. So remove the distractions at work and remove the distractions at home. Okay. The next is number 4. I want you to write it down. Set SMART goals. I want you to set SMART goals. Here's what we mean by SMART goals. They're specific. They're specific. Okay. And I'm talking like set them when you are as busy as you are, top 20%, you've got to set these goals literally daily, hour by hour. Okay. What are you going to accomplish? What are the 5 most important things you're going to accomplish before you go get caught up in the urgent? Okay. What are the 5 most important things that are making your business sustainable, predictable? Hudson joked, and I think kind of not joked earlier when I said P&L, right? Like that should be a big item on your list. Okay. How do you know where you are as a business if you don't know how much money you're bringing in and how much money is going out? Okay. What I've also learned in this business is this, right? You can make a lot of money in real estate. You guys know that, right? You can make a lot of money, or you can keep a lot of money. There's a difference. Okay. I have done both sides. Early on in my career, I made a lot of money. I didn't keep it though. I didn't have a P&L. I didn't have a coach. I wasn't doing the basics. I didn't set SMART goals. Okay. Set SMART goals. Make sure they're specific. Make sure they're measurable. Okay. That's the M of SMART, right? Right. SMART, SMART. Specific, measurable, attainable, realistic, and timely. Like put a time limit on it. What are you going to do and when are you going to do it by? And then make sure somebody holds you accountable to it. Okay. What are you going to do and when are you going to do it by, and be held accountable to it? It's accountable action. Okay. Another way to put all this is I'm asking you to work on your business, not in your business all the time. Okay. How are you building a business that is worth owning so that you can have a life worth living, right? So that you can give legacies that are worth leaving, so that you can have experiences, right? So many of you are so busy, you're not experiencing even the fruit of what you're earning. Does that make sense to everybody? Okay. So number 5, break down goals into realistic, high impact tasks. Break down goals into realistic, high impact tasks. Okay. And I want you to think about, what are the high impact tasks? Does that make sense to everybody? Negotiating a repair amendment, that's not a high impact task. That's just part of your job. It's got to be done. Okay. Making sure that you add 5 people to your database today. That's a high impact task, because the more people you have in your database and the more you systematically communicate with them, the more opportunity you're going to have. Okay. Having 20 conversations with people today first, before you do anything else, that's a high impact task. Getting your P&L put together, knowing how much money you are bringing in, how much money is going out. That's a high impact task. We've got to think like a business owner, not a realtor. Okay. Again, like to Hudson's point, it's not anything bad about being a realtor. I'm just telling you, there's a drastic difference. Okay. Realtors just run all over the place. Okay. You with me? I'm running over here. I'm running over there. Somebody else called. I'm going to go over there. Somebody else called. I'm going to go over here. I got to take a sign. I got to take a lot box. That's not owning a business. Okay. A business owner has leverage. A business owner has listings, and a business owner knows that all of that starts with leads. What are your high impact tasks that you're doing? Does that make sense? Okay. High impact task. And then I'm going to ask you to focus on the task at hand, like focus on one task at a time. Gary Keller tells us that multitasking is a myth, right? That you cannot actually multitask. You can only do one thing at a time. So focus on the high impact task and what is the task at hand right now. Some of you are so busy, you don't even know what the task at hand is. You're just reacting. Does that make sense? Okay. What's the task at hand? So I'll tell you a quick story to illustrate this, because I'm super passionate about this. I'm the first one to get too busy. I'm the first one to chase rabbits. I'm the first one that is prone to wander. Okay. Hudson, I think you and I have a lot in common. I think we're both that way, right? Like I'm just a lot of moving parts. I mean, Hudson's got 5 kids. We got a lot of moving parts, right? Big businesses, lots of things going on. So you gotta be able to focus on what's the task at hand and what's the most high impact task. What's going to get me from where I am to where I'm going. So when I grew up playing tennis. And so when I was in high school, my sophomore year, we're playing in the regional finals. Okay. And if we win, we go to state. If we don't, we don't. And so all the other matches on the court, it was team tennis. All the other matches started coming off one at a time. And all of a sudden I look up and I'm the only match left on the court. Now in the world of tennis, if you're only match left on the court, that means nobody's won yet. And that means if you win, your team goes to state. And if you lose, you don't go to state. And so I knew that, and I knew the pressure of that. And I had won the first set, and then the pressure got me. Okay. So I won the first set 6-4, and the second set, I lost it 6-0. I was terrified. I was just going to let everybody down. Right. And I got so messed up in my mind that I could not hit a tennis ball in the court to save my life. So my tennis coach, right, recognizes where I'm at. He comes out on the court. By this time, I'm already down 5-0 in the third set. Okay. Now he's been coaching me, trying to get to me, and I just can't, my head's a mess, right? I'm all over the map. Anybody ever feel like they're all over the map? I'm all over the map.
Yes.
He comes out, it's 5-0 in the third set. Now in the world of tennis, what that means is if I lose 4 more points, I lose. So he comes out and he's smiling. Are you kidding me? He's smiling. This is most like, I'm a sophomore in high school. This is the biggest moment of my life, man. Don't smile at me. I'm losing. He's smiling and he goes, well, Dusty, he says, what do you think we need to do? And I'm like, wait a second. You're the coach. Why are you asking me? Like, you need to tell me what to do. That's what I said to him. And he said, well, I've been telling you stuff for like the last 11 games. You hadn't listened to anything yet. So I just figured maybe you had a better idea. I said, well, I don't. I need you to help me. And here's what he says, team. He says, what's the task at hand? And I'm livid. And I go, coach, it'd be a good idea if I could win a game. That's the task at hand. He goes, no, that's not the task at hand. And I'm like, well, why don't you help me out here? What is it? I go back on the court in 30 seconds. And he goes, I don't know. What do you think? What's the task at hand? And I said, well, maybe I could just win a point. That'd be a good idea, wouldn't it? I hadn't won many of those. He goes, yeah, that would be a good idea. Not the task at hand, though. And at this point, I'm about to lose my mind, right? So I go, just tell me. So he comes over, he grabs my shirt, picks me up off the ground, because I only weighed like 89 pounds my sophomore year in high school. He picks me up off the ground, looks me right in the face, and he says, what's the task at hand? And I said, I don't know. Maybe I just need to hit a ball in the court. And he smiles at me. He drops me, fixes my shirt, and he goes, that's the task at hand. And I said, seriously, that's what you gave me? All of this, and that's what you gave me? He said, yes. And then he leaned in and he said, Dusty, I've watched you do this every day, day in, day out. It's why you're so good. You just know how to hit a ball in the court. So just go do that. Like can you hit one ball in the court? I said, yeah, I can do that. He said, well, go out and do that. So that's what I did, team. I just walked out. I had one task, one high impact task. And that was hit this ball in the court. And here's what happened. I rolled off 7 games in a row. I lost 3 points. Do you know why? It wasn't pretty. It was ugly. I just got the ball in play. That's it. Okay. You guys right now have so many things going on that you got to get focused on the task at hand. You want to have a business. Here's my concern. I'm not concerned for you today. I'm concerned for you 12 months from today. That's when I'm concerned for you. I'm concerned for you in 2023. Gary says we got to be thinking 2023, 2024, 2025. I'm not worried about you today. You get listings today, they're going to sell. You're a rock star. And we got agents out there that are like, I'm the greatest agent ever. Look at me. I'm like, no, you're not. You didn't even put a sign in the yard, bro. This is called the market makes you look awesome. Okay. Now I'm not telling you you're not awesome. I love you. You are. And the market's helping our cause a little bit right now, right? What about 12 months from now? Okay. What's the task at hand right now that you're not doing that you better start doing to make sure you're sustainable, predictable, and duplicatable? You're a business owner. Make sense to everybody? Okay. Number 6, here we go. Work when your mind is fresh. Can somebody in the room tell me when your mind is most fresh?
Morning.
In the morning. In the morning. So when you get up, you're going to be your best in the morning. I don't care if you think you're not a morning person. In fact is you are a morning person. You just keep saying you're not a morning person. Okay. That's why you're not a morning person. All right. So in the morning is when you are at your highest abilities. Cognitively, you think better, you're clearer, you're stronger. Stop dealing with the monotonous daily task of being busy in the morning. Put that off to the afternoon and do your high impact task first thing in the morning. Okay. Do your practice and role play. I know you're the top 20%. I know you already know what to say. And here's what I'll tell you. We're in a market today that whether you've been in the business 20 days or 20 years, we're all on the same playing field. How many of you are searching for things to say today? Are you with me? So do your practice, do your lead generation, do your lead follow-up, do the important things first, and then go take care of everything that's urgent, okay? Work when your mind is the most fresh, okay? I had an agent the other day that was so proud of himself that he said, I am so busy, I'm going to bed every night after midnight. Okay, do you guys know what I said to that, Tampa? I said, why in the world would you do that? That's dumb. Stop doing that. Okay, that's not like there's nothing to be excited about that. Okay, let me tell you what I'm doing at midnight. I'm sleeping next to my bride. That's what I'm doing. Okay, I'm not working. That means something is off. Okay, work when you are fresh in the morning, and then get everything else accomplished after that. Okay, not all hours are created equal. Now, number 7, I want you guys to put a big circle around this. Okay, here's what it is. Focus on being productive, not busy. Focus on being productive, not busy. Okay. The goal is not to be busy. The goal is to be productive. The goal is to build a business that runs, okay, on systems and models and runs regardless of what the market does. Regardless of what the market does. I think we've forgotten that COVID hit last March, right? How many of you last March did what I did? I sat on the end of my bed and thought, what the heck am I going to do? Did anybody else do that, or was that just me? I panicked, man. I didn't know what I was going to do, right? I didn't have a clue. Well, then today we're all like, oh man, no, man, we're just making money. Everything's great. It's wonderful. Hey, let me ask you a question. What are you going to do if something like this happens again? Are you ready? Okay. Stop being so busy. Start being productive. Okay. Start being productive. I want you to write this down too. Success doesn't come by completing task. Okay. So success does not come by completing task. The question is, are you doing the right task? That's where success comes. Success doesn't come because you're so busy and you complete everything and man, everything's moving. No, success comes by, are you completing the right task? And not only are you completing the right task, are you completing it the right way? Okay. Are you completing it the right way? Results are more important than the time spent. So I want you to ask yourself a question every hour on the hour for the rest of this week. I know it's Thursday, so you got one day to do it. Do it next week too. I want you to ask yourself a question every hour on the hour. Okay. In the last hour, I want you to ask on a 1 to 10, on a 1 to 10, how productive was I? Not how busy was I, how productive was I on a 1 to 10? I also want you to ask yourself on a 1 to 10, what was your effort and energy on a 1 to 10? When you play at a 10 with effort and energy and productivity, you'll have a business that's sustainable and predictable and duplicatable all across the board. Make sense? Those 3 things. All right. Number 8, provide undivided attention to one thing at a time. Undivided attention to one thing at a time. Stop doing 900 things at one time. Okay. You cannot do that. You're not going to do anything well. Undivided attention to one thing at a time and make sure that it is productive. Okay. When you are lead generating, don't do anything else. Don't be answering your emails. Don't be answering your text messages. Just do your job. When you're doing your lead follow-up, don't do anything else. When you're negotiating a repair amendment, don't do anything else. Get rid of the distractions. Focus on one thing at a time. Undivided attention. Okay. The results will show whether or not you had undivided attention. Okay. And going back to your family, I want to tell you again, right? When you walk in your door at home, undivided attention to them, that one thing at a time. Okay. That one thing at a time. Okay. Number 9 and 10, I want you to circle them. Here's number 9. Work in 90-minute increments. Work in 90-minute increments. Your body was not created to work to the point of exhaustion. It's not healthy for you. It's not good for you. And it's not good for your business. Okay. Work in 90-minute increments. And here's what I mean by that. Work, 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 and then rest. Like stop, catch your breath. You can get on TikTok then. That's fine. You can get on Instagram then. I don't care what you do. Take 15 minutes for yourself. Go for a walk. Get something to eat. I'll tell you what I do. You know what I do? I go 90 minutes hard. And then I just sit down and I don't talk because all I do all day long is talk. I just talk and I talk and I talk and I talk and I just don't want to talk, right? So I go 90 minutes and then I just sit. I don't do anything. I don't look at my phone. I don't do anything. I just sit there in the quiet, right? I got 2 kids, 2 dogs. We got a lot of moving parts. I just sit in the quiet, okay? Here's the next one. I think this is brilliant. You guys write this down, number 10. I trust you writing everything down. Reply to emails, voicemails, and text messages at a specific time. Like stop being the guy who just responds immediately. Are you with me? You should you should not do that. You're in an appointment. You should be focused on one thing, right? And so set times that are time blocked in your calendar that you will respond to the things that have come in so that you stop running to the urgent all the time. Stay focused on the important. Now, okay, I have in my schedule 30 minutes or 1 hour where it's time blocked. So I can tell you for me, I literally have in my schedule from 4:30 to 6 p.m. every day. I deal with everything that happened that I was not able to deal with during the day and that I should not have dealt with during the day. That makes sense? And I call them between 4:30 and 6. That's it. So if you call me and you've got something for, I'm going to call you between 4:30 and 6, unless you're Hudson. If Hudson texts me, I'm texting back. You're welcome. Okay. I'll respond to Hudson. So have those set, and you may have to have a few of those set times. That's fine. Just time block it. Stop doing everything all at once. You're just creating more chaos. Now it makes you feel busy and productive, but you're not productive. You're just busy. Okay. So next is number 11. Invest a little bit of time to save a lot of bit of time. This is the automatic bill pay conversation. Invest a little bit of time to save a lot of bit of time. Okay. Slow down. Take the time. I guarantee you there's people in the room right now. Your command is either not set up, your database is not set up, or maybe you don't even have one. Okay. And I'm telling you, there is massive productivity on the other side of you slowing down and investing a little bit of time to save a lot of bit of time. I used to pride myself, my first 2 years in the business, I very quickly got to 20 million. I built a team. So I had this $20 million team. I was so proud of myself. And I would tell everybody, I was proud of it. I would tell everybody, hey, I built my whole business right here on my cell phone. I don't even have a database. I don't even have a system. I built a $20 million business right here on my cell phone. I was so proud of that. Okay. And then I started going to sleep at night and I was grinding my teeth and I was stressed and I had anxiety and it was not good. It wasn't pretty. So I hired a coach. I hired a MAPS coach. And my coach came in. I told him the same thing. I said, hey, man, you tell me what to do. I'm going to do it. I built a $20 million business straight from my cell phone. He said, man, I think that's awesome. Imagine what you could have built if you actually did it not on your cell phone. Like, what if you actually had a database? What if you actually had a system? What if you actually owned a business, Dusty? You could have done 40 million instead of 20 million. And then he said, and you could do it in half the time that you're doing it. Are you guys tracking with me? My fear is we're getting out of whack and out of that balance. Okay. So we got to make sure that you get in and make sure that these things are set. Delegate. Okay. Delegating is your friend, top 20%. All right. Delegate it. Delegate it. Gary says if it's something that doesn't fall in our pay per hour, then somebody else should do it. Okay. Delegate it. Invest a little bit of time to save a lot of bit of time. Okay. And then finally, number 12 is narrow your number of commitments. Narrow your number of commitments. And there's a very simple word I want you to write down. It's called no. Okay. No, the answer is no. The answer is no. Not I don't want to, not I don't love you. Just no, because it doesn't fall in line with what I'm doing. Okay. Narrow your number of commitments. Stay focused on the important. Don't spread yourself so thin that you've got nowhere that you can go. Okay. Does that make sense to everybody? Okay.
All the sense.
Okay. Any questions on those 12 things before I give you one more thing and then I'll answer any further questions you have. Any questions on that? Any thoughts, comments, anything?
Guys, any questions? Ooh, okay. I got to come back to you so he can hear. It's super fun. We're a tech company. What's up, Trudy?
Okay, so I've always had a hard time saying no. So I found this line recently that really works in personal and professional. And I don't want to mess it up because it's my first time speaking. But I say to people, unfortunately, at this time, I must decline. And it really puts people back on their heels where they can't really come at you saying like, oh, you're, turning me away or whatever it may be. You don't give them specifics. You just say, at this time, unfortunately, I must decline.
I like
Right.
it.
If you don't like it,
I like
Absolutely.
it. That's a fancy no. That's a fancy no. I like that.
That's right. That's
What
right.
else we got? Other questions? If you're on Zoom, just go for it. Remember, I can't see your hand if you're raising it.
Yeah, you guys go right ahead. Anybody? Okay, usually when there's no,
They're all looking at me like a deer in the headlights, so go
Okay.
for it.
Usually when there's no questions, that means I either nailed it or blew it. So I'm going to go with I nailed it. That you're all sitting there going, oh my goodness, I have got to start doing these things. I'm pretty confident that's what that means. So I want to give you one more final thought before we leave. When we talk about, and this is this market or the market that is to come. Okay, this market or the market that is to come. So I want to ask you how much action is necessary to create success. And some of you, if you were in bowl with me, you probably already heard this, and yet I'm gonna tell it to you again. Okay, how much action is necessary for you to create success? And when I talk about action, I'm talking about defined, intentional, directional action. Okay, so the market that we're in and the market that is to come. What I'm seeing all across the country is I'm basically seeing a few types of agents. One type of agent I'm seeing is the agent that's just closing their eyes and going, you know what, I'm just going to keep doing what I've always done. And at some point, this market will change and I'll be fine. They're not making any adjustments, right? Other agents are finding themselves that they just don't have any answers. Okay. And so instead of looking for answers and being learning based, they're closing their eyes and they're hoping that things change. And I want everybody to write this down. Hope is not a strategy. That is not going to get you where you desire to go. Okay. And then the third level of agents that I'm seeing out there in our market right now are the people that see it and feel it and they want to do something about it. Okay. They see it and they feel it and they want to do something about it. So I want to ask you, what level of action is necessary for you to build the business that you desire to build And I want you to think today about what it is that you need to do. So I'm going to give you 4 levels of action. And I promise you that every single one of you sitting in the seats out there in Tampa right now are doing one of these 4 things. Okay. So here's the first level of action I want you to write down. This can be your response. I'm talking about your response to the market we're in and the market that is to come, right? So here's number 1. Your first level of action that you could take is you could do nothing. Yeah, that's it. You could do nothing. What I mean by that is you could take an old school approach and go, you know what? I've always done it this way. And so it's always worked before. So it's always going to work now. So let me tell you something. If you keep doing what you always got, you're going to keep getting what you always got. And when the market shifts, Gary tells us we have one option, and that is we got to shift with it. Okay. We're in a shift. Yes. And there will be another one coming, correct? We don't know what it looks like or what it's going to be. And yet we know that something is going to be different, right? So you could do nothing right now. And I want everybody to know this. Doing nothing is actually an action. Okay. People think that's inaction. That's not true. Doing nothing is an action. I choose to do nothing. Okay. Passivity is not, I don't even think passivity is a real thing. I think active passivity is a real thing. You and I choose to do nothing, or we choose to be lazy. We choose to stay the way we are. It's a choice that we make. It's called doing nothing. And here's what I can tell you. When you do nothing, you get 2 things. You get nothing, and then you also get chaos, right? A lot of people think doing nothing will take them where they want to go. It actually makes you more uncomfortable to do nothing than it does to actually get into action. Okay. A lot of people don't do action because they don't want to be uncomfortable. Doing nothing will make you way more uncomfortable than doing action. Okay. So that's number 1. Number 2, what you could do, how much action is needed or necessary to create success. Number 2 is you could retreat. A lot of agents right now are retreating. They're pulling back. Some agents are retreating right now because they're afraid of getting too busy. That may be some of you right now. Like you're like, Coach, I can't handle anymore. Okay. No, that's not true. You just don't have the systems and models in place to support it. You don't have any stabilization. So get some stabilization. Then you can do it. Right. Okay. So a lot of people are retreating because they don't know the answer. Okay. Most of the time, in our humanity, there's one reason you and I retreat, and it's called fear. We're afraid of something. Okay. And I want everybody to write this down. Most of the time, we are afraid of a possible, everybody hear my language, of a possible negative experience. We don't even know if it's going to be negative. We're just afraid it might be. So because of that, I'm going to retreat. And if you retreat long enough, you know what ends up happening? You end up getting frozen in your fear and doing nothing. Make sense to everybody? Okay. Now here's number 3. And if I were to guess, this is where I would say most of you, if not all of you, are at right now. Okay. Number 3 is called you could take normal levels of action. Normal levels of action. Let me tell you something. We got real estate agents all across the country right now that are just getting up. They're just being normal day-to-day realtors, and they're being successful. They're making money. They got listings. Okay. Because the market is providing these opportunities. All right. And so here's what I want you to know about normal levels of action. I want you to write down a couple words. Write this word down. Average. Average. So I trust that you did not wake up this morning and say, I just can't wait to be average, right? Like today is all about, I want to be as mediocre as I possibly can. I want to have mediocre relationships and a mediocre business and a mediocre bank account. I just want to be average, right? Another word is standard. Write that down, standard. And here's what I mean by that. Standard literally means this. I can go anywhere else and get the same thing. That's what standard means. So here's my question. Are you average? Are you standard? Now, you and I don't get up and say, I can't wait to be average. I do think we get up and we do it though. We just do what has to be done to make sure that we make enough to keep the doors open. That's not the business owner that I desire to be. Okay. All right. So we have average and normal levels of action is just being average. Now, I want you to write this down. This is the most dangerous level of action that there is. Okay. Does anybody know why I would say that? Why would I say that normal levels of action is more dangerous than retreating or doing nothing? Does anybody know why I would say that? Any thoughts?
Anybody?
Taking normal levels of action.
There's not going to be anything to make you change.
Yeah, there's not going to be anything to make it change. And here's what I'll tell you. It's the most accepted. It's the most accepted. Like, you know what average people do? They surround themselves with other average people so that they feel better about being average. That's what they do. They hang out, they have parties, they do a lot of average stuff together. And it's the most accepted level of action is just being average. Now, I'll tell you, here's the danger, is that when we're out there taking normal levels of action, okay? When the market shifts, do you know what people who are taking normal levels of action, you know what they do when the market shifts? They get scared and they retreat. They get scared and they do nothing when they're taking normal levels of action. So number 4, I want you to write it down. If you don't hear anything else I say today, please hear this, okay? I'm asking you to do number 4, and that is this. Write it in capital letters. Take massive action. Take massive action. Everyone, and I did not say get busier. I said take massive action. You may need to do automatic bill pay today in your business. That's your massive action. Okay. You may need to slow down to speed up. You may need to actually go get one of those things that you didn't know what I was talking about when I said a P&L. Okay. Take massive action. And here's what I mean by that. If you want to build a business that thrives in the market today and thrives in the market that is to come, you're gonna take massive action today to make sure that you're building that. Okay, it's called doing within while doing without. Even though you may not see the results of what you're doing, you're building a foundation. And here's what I mean by take massive action. I mean do what other people aren't willing to do. Most people aren't willing to take massive action. Most people aren't willing to get uncomfortable. Most people aren't willing to slow down to speed up. Most people aren't willing to step into accountability because they don't like how it feels or what's going to happen. Okay. So I'm going to ask you to do what other people aren't willing to do. And here's what I'm going to tell you. It's actually the most natural level of action that you and I have. Now, earlier I said taking normal levels of action is the most dangerous. Taking massive action is actually the most normal behavior pattern that you have. Now, you may be sitting there going, Coach, you don't know me very well. I am not a person of massive action. I can tell you that you used to be. Okay. And here's how I can tell you this. And Hudson, you will second this. I have no doubt. Here's how I know that, because I have 2 8-year-olds on the other side of my door. Okay. And can I tell you what I have done what they have done from the day they took their first breath? They take massive action. They never stop ever. They move in their sleep. Like they never stop. There's no off switch. And let me tell you what else they do. Okay. You guys can judge me all you want to. They get what they want. Do you know why? Because they just wear me down enough that eventually I'm just like, okay, you can do it, right? They take massive action. They don't take no for an answer, and they get what they want, all right? A great example. Here's what I'm talking about. When I walk out this door, I guarantee you my son's going to run up to me and he's going to say something like this. Dad, there's this new Ninjago Lego and I got to go get it because this is the best Ninjago Lego out there. I have to go get it. Okay. And I'm going to say, no, bro, you're not getting the Ninjago Lego. You got 900 Ninjago Legos in your room on the Lego table that I built for you that you asked for. Okay. No more Legos. All right. I'm going to stand my ground. Now, let me tell you what he does. He doesn't stop. He says, no, dad, listen. And I've taught him way too well, Hudson. He's a negotiator. So he says, listen, Dad, I've got $50. You got $50. We can put our money together and we can go get the Ninjago Lego. Now, I'm a bold coach. I'm not going to let an 8-year-old outscript me. Okay. So I say, no, it's not going to happen. You're not going to get the Ninjago Lego. And then let me tell you what, I've taught him way too well. Then here's what he does. Okay. Logic makes you think, emotion makes you act, right? Then he comes and he speaks to my emotion and he says, no, Dad, listen. I got $50. You got $50. We put our money together. We can buy the Ninjago Lego. And then Saturday, Dad, when you're not doing bold and it's just our family time at the house, you and I can just sit down, father and son, and do the Ninjago Lego. Yeah. That's what he does to me, Tampa. And you know what I do, Tampa? Judge me all you want. I go, all right, bro, let's go get the Ninjago Lego. Let's go. And you know what he does the next week? He comes back again. That's what he does. He keeps coming. Okay. Think about what kids do on October 31st. What do? They put on masks like you and I have done for the last year. You and I got intimidated. Not them. They don't get intimidated. Okay. They put on masks, they call it a costume, and they go knock on doors and they ask people for candy and people give it to them. Are you with me? Are you guys tracking with me? This is what they do. So here's my question to you. When did you stop doing that? Like, when did you stop taking massive action? I'll tell you when. When it didn't go your way, maybe sometime you quit. Maybe somebody else told you that you couldn't. Maybe they took their limiting belief, they put it on you, and then you adopted it, right? Maybe somebody told you you're not good enough, smart enough. You've never been a business owner. You don't know what you're doing. Okay. Are you guys tracking with me? Right? When did you stop taking massive action? And what's the one thing you can do today? Right? Steve Schleter has a great question. I love this question. He says, what's the one thing in your business that's not being done today that if it were to be done would radically change your business? What's the one thing in your business that's not being done today that if it were to be done would radically change your business? It goes back to execution doesn't happen in months and quarters. It happens in days and months, right? What's the one thing? What's the one massive action you can take today that will make sure that you have a sustainable, predictable, and duplicatable business, that you are no longer a chaser, that you are an attractor, right? So what are we doing to make sure that we're doing that? Make sense to everybody? Okay.
Yes.
Did you get something out of today? Let me hear from you. What are some ahas you got? What are some questions I can answer for you? Hudson, I trust that was in line with what you guys were looking for out there.
100%, sir. Who's got an aha? Okay, Ashley, what you got?
Work in 90-minute increments.
90-minute increments. I love that. Yeah. What else? Yeah, Tom.
Do a P&L.
Yeah. Oh, so proud. So
Tom,
proud.
I love you. That's what I'm talking about. Get that profit and loss in there. Hey, hey guys, a lot of you don't do it because you're afraid of what you'll see on it. Can I just tell you, awareness is transformational. Okay. Like, just get aware. Get aware so that you know where you are. It gives you where you are. You can't go where you're going if you don't know where you are. Okay. What else you got?
What else, guys? If you're on Zoom, just speak it up. Oh, Tom's got another one.
I mean, there's 12 of them really, but no, take massive action.
Yeah. All day long, massive action. What else? Invest a little bit of time to save a lot of time.
Yeah.
Or a little bit to save a lot of bit. I like a lot of bit. That's very Dusty.
That's right.
What else we got? Yes.
The reminder that the market keeps
The reminder
changing.
that the market keeps changing. The market will change until the very day that you stop selling real estate, just FYI.
That's right.
It's not just now. We got a couple,
That's right.
oh, just saying thank you. All right. Anybody else? All right, you guys. Dusty, you're amazing. Give it up for Dusty, please.
Hey, thank you guys. Hudson, thank you. So honored. Anytime I can be with you guys. Bless you guys. Go out there, go to work. Okay. Find order, find rhythm, create it. Okay. In a chaotic world, you are in control of everything inside your four walls. Okay. Chaos can happen out there, but you can have order and rhythm in here. So remember that the climate of your business, the climate of your home, the climate of your team is your responsibility. So go out there and take responsibility for it. It's been an honor to be with you today. I look forward to being out there in person. We're going to get out there as quick as possible. So Hudson, you guys bring me out there. I love coming to Tampa. It's beautiful out there. I live in Texas. Okay. We don't have anything beautiful like that here. So thank you guys so much. Hey, Hudson,
Thank you, my friend. Take care.
Appreciate you guys. Bye-bye.